Hello and welcome to Musco Connects. I'm Ann Hogan, Dean of the College of Performing Arts and the Musco Center for the Arts here at Chapman University in Southern California, and in anticipation of the iconic improv and sketch troupe, the Groundlings, coming to perform this February at the Musco Center, I've asked Dr. Jocelyn Buckner to share some insights about, what the heck is improv? Where did it come from, and do they really just make it up as they go? Dr. Buckner is the chair of the Department of Theater here at Chapman. She has published numerous book chapters and articles and is the editor of the book A Critical Companion to Lynn Nottage and of the journal Theater History Studies. She's a board member and past president of the American Theater and Drama Society, and she's been the resident dramaturg of the Chance Theater since 2014. I know you're going to enjoy hearing from Dr. Buckner, and I hope to see you soon here at the Musco Center.
Hello, I am Jocelyn Buckner, Chair of the Department of Theater at Chapman University. Welcome to today's Musco Connects, Yes and Improvisation Then and Now featuring the Groundlings. Today we're diving into the hilarious, strange, and sometimes terrifying world of improvisational theater, also known as improv. We'll explore its origins and iterations throughout history, how it's performed, what training looks like, and its development in the United States during the 20th century. We'll also talk about why it's still a big deal today. We'll also shine a spotlight on one of the most iconic contemporary improv theater troupes in the country, the Groundlings. So, what is improv exactly anyway? Improvisation, or improv, or impro if we're using the British pronunciation, is a form of theater wherein most, if not all, of the performance is unscripted. The actors spontaneously create the content of their performances in front of an audience. Everything from dialogue to scenes to characters, the whole thing is entirely unscripted. Improv is often comedic, but it can also at times be dramatic or even abstract. Improvisational performances are often also captured in film and television. The golden rule of improvisation is yes and, which means you accept whatever dialogue or gesture your scene partner gives you, and then you add to it in order to build a scene. For example, if somebody says, "We're stuck on bars," you don't say, "No, we're not," because that immediately shuts down the scene and there's nowhere to go. But if you say, "Yes, and I forgot the oxygen masks again," bingo. Then the scene is able to build organically based on your positive yes and response and the information that you've provided. So let's talk. How did improvisation start? We'll dive into the origins now. The recorded beginnings of improvisational theater date back to 391 BC with the Atellan farce. The farce was a popular form of masked, improvised entertainment in ancient Rome. These farces, which lasted for over 500 years, were performed in the regional Oscan language and in Latin, and they typically featured comedic sketches that were performed for audiences during special holidays or even on market days when everyone was gathering in a common spot to do their shopping. These farcical performances included several stock characters who reflected a range of comedic types, such as the fool, the glutton, or an arrogant soldier. Many historians recognize the connection between these ancient stock characters and later stock characters like the Commedia dell'arte Pantalone or Capitano. Initially, the farces were fully improvised and not recorded, with subject matter and performers' roles being determined right before the performance began. The simple vernacular dialogue of the performances was supported by songs and funny physical gestures. The Atellan plays gained popularity in Rome during the 3rd century BCE, and they enjoyed a revival during the 1st century BCE. Despite their popularity, these farces also endured criticism because of their base humor and coarseness, and they were eventually banished from Italy in 28 AD. Despite this, performances continued in various ways, and in the early 2nd century AD, some Atellan farces were recorded under the reign of Emperor Hadrian. During the Renaissance, the art of improv gained popularity through the development of commedia dell'arte troupes, which toured extensively through Italy as well as the rest of Europe. Traveling companies based their performances on rough sketch scenarios, masks, more detailed stock characters, and slapstick physicality, creating scenarios and scenes that were topical, relevant to a wide cross-section of audiences, and easily understood, whether the audience be Italian or foreign. These troupes influenced comedy developments and playwriting throughout Europe, from Molière in France to Shakespeare in England. And in doing so, they helped develop universally recognized stock characters, tropes, and comedic scenarios across centuries and cultures. Modern improvisation emerged in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, thanks to theater educators experimenting with new ways to teach acting. For example, in the late 1800s, renowned theatrical theorists like the Russian actor and director Konstantin Stanislavski, who is widely regarded as the founder of modern acting theory, used improvisation in actor training and rehearsal to develop performers' sense of authenticity, realism, and characterization. The modern American improvisational theater movement started in Chicago in the mid-20th century, emerging from the work of drama teacher Viola Spolin. Inspired by older traditions like Italian commedia, Spolin developed non-competitive theater games to help immigrants and children learn creative self-expression. These methods became the basis for the first professional improv companies, most famously the Compass Players and its successor, the Second City. Viola Spolin first developed her teaching methods while she was working as a drama supervisor for the Works Progress Administration in Chicago during the 1930s. Her approach, which is detailed in her 1963 book, Improvisation for the Theater, used theatrical group games to encourage creative self-expression and spontaneity. She sought to liberate the player from their own self-consciousness. In 1955, Spolin's son, Paul Sills, used her theater games to train performers for the Compass Players, which was the first professional improvisational theater company in the United States. They created scenes and social commentary inspired by audience suggestions. In 1959, following the Compass Players' dissolution, Paul Sills, Bernie Sahlins, and Howard Alk all founded the Second City in Chicago. This new troupe built again on Spolin's methods to develop more improvised scenes and written sketch comedies. It has since launched the careers of hundreds of comedic legends, including greats like Alan Arkin, Bill Murray, and Joan Rivers. In 1963, alumni of the Second City, including Alan Meyerson and Del Close, founded the Committee in San Francisco. Like their Chicago predecessors, the group performed politically and socially relevant improvised scenes. Then in 1974, Gary Austin, who was a former member of the committee, founded the Groundlings Theater and School in Los Angeles. The company has since become a major force in West Coast improv and sketch comedy, training many top entertainers. After years of performing, directing, and teaching short-form improv at the Committee and Second City, Del Close collaborated with Chalna Halpern to further develop what came to be known as long-form improvisation. In 1983, they established the Improv Olympic Theater in Chicago, where Close crafted a complex multi-scene format built upon single audience suggestions. Founded by Matt Besner, Amy Poehler, Ian Roberts, and Matt Walsh in 1996, the Upright Citizens Brigade started in Chicago before moving on to New York and then later Los Angeles. Upright Citizens Brigade is known for its energetic style of improv and helped further popularize long-form format improv, becoming a cornerstone of comedy on both coasts. Now, by comparison, contemporary British improvisation practices developed a little bit differently. In Britain, the 1737 Licensing Act required that all stage plays be vetted and approved by the Lord Chamberlain's office. This censorship, which remained in place until 1968, inhibited the development of live scripted and improvised theater. For example, English director Joan Littlewood, known for her use of improvisation in the 1950s and 60s, was often prosecuted for allowing her actors to improvise during performances. But during the late 1950s, British theatre artist Keith Johnstone developed his own improvisation technique at London's Royal Court Theatre. He was becoming frustrated by stifled writers' rooms, and instead he began having participants simply act out their ideas right on the spot. And in the 1970s, Johnstone wrote the influential book, Improvisation and the Theatre, which outlined his theories in acting games. This work continues to inspire generations of improvisers globally. Johnstone experimented with performing his improvisation games in front of an audience with his troupe, the Theatre Machine. When the Lord Chamberlain's censorship office made improv performances difficult to stage, Johnstone created theater sports. By situating improvisation games as sporting events, Johnstone was able to bypass the need for review and approval of performance material. Johnstone later immigrated to Canada, where theater sports became a staple of modern improv. The improvisation methods and training developed in the mid-20th century have directly shaped much of American entertainment today. The long-running sketch comedy show Saturday Night Live, for example, has regularly drawn talent from the Second City and other improv theaters. Original cast members John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, and Gilda Radner were all Second City alums, as were later stars like Chris Farley and Tina Fey. The popular television game show Whose Line Is It Anyway started in Britain and popularized short-form improv games as mainstream entertainment for audiences. Improv techniques are now widely used in film and television. Shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm rely heavily on improvised scenes. While comedic performance is improv's most visible application, the art form's influence also has expanded into other fields. The principles of improvisation, such as collaboration, active listening, and reacting to what's happening in the moment, that yes and response, are now used in corporate training, therapy, and education to improve communication and creativity. These applications are called applied improvisation. Performers also use improv to create full-length plays and stories that are not necessarily comedic, exploring characters and plots in real time. Schools, clubs, TV shows, movies, they all pull inspiration from improv training and practices. Speaking of training, improvisation training is a workout. Improvisation is not just get on stage and be hilarious. Oh no, it takes a lot of work. There's a lot of training involved. This involves things like warm-ups. Actors and performers, they become warm and loose by developing the body and brain and priming it for those immediate responses in real time. Then there's games and exercises. These build quick thinking and team chemistry amongst the performers. Next, there's character work. Artists learn how to develop personas fast. During scene work, they practice developing longer, unscripted scenes that feel real. And then there's always the development of those foundational key skills like listening and reacting. You must be present in the performance in order to create authentic responses. There are different flavors of improv. We've mentioned two of the main ones briefly. The first is short form improv. These are fast, funny games like you see on some television shows. And then there's long form improv. This would be extended scenes or stories. They sometimes have recurring characters or even themes. These might feel like a small play that's developing right in front of you in real time. The Groundlings are performing at Chapman University's Musco Center for the Arts. Let's take a deeper look at the company's history, training, and performance practices. The Groundlings is a renowned improvisational theater company based in Los Angeles, California. It has been a major incubator of comedic talent in the United States since its founding, and it's known for its distinct performance style, rigorous training, and alumni who have gone on to shape American comedy. Founder Gary Austin named the troupe the Groundlings in reference to the Groundlings of Shakespearean theater. These were the commoners who paid just a penny to come into the Globe Theater, stand on the ground or in the pit in front of the stage and watch the performance, hence the name Groundlings. The company began performing in various venues before settling into its permanent home, the Groundlings Theater on Melrose Avenue in 1979. The Groundlings have built a legacy, becoming a comedic institution and a feeder for television shows like Saturday Night Live and Mad TV. Notable alumni include Will Ferrell, Lisa Kudrow, Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, Phil Hartman, Maya Rudolph, and Paul Rubens. The Groundlings is both a professional performance troupe and a highly competitive comedy school with a structured training program that emphasizes character work and improvisational skills. Their training is based on several levels. First is the basic level. This is an introduction to those improvisational fundamentals like agreement, saying yes and to the moment that's happening, listening, and learning teamwork. Next is intermediate improv. This builds on those fundamental skills with more focus on scene work and character development. After that, students move on to advanced improvisation. Advanced improvisation focuses on long-form improv development, advanced scene work, and complex character growth. Then there's the writing lab. The lab teaches actors how to turn improvised scenes into scripted sketches. After that, they move on to the advanced writing lab and performance track. Select students may collaborate to create sketch shows, and successful students may be invited to join the Sunday Company. The Sunday Company is a showcase troupe of rising talent that performs weekly. Members might be eligible for promotion to the main company based on their performances, their writing, and their growth. The Groundlings' key techniques and emphases on their development process include character-driven comedy, which is essential to their style. They have an improvised to scripted process. Performers often improvise characters or scenes in workshops, and those then get refined and scripted into polished sketches. Then there's a focus on scene-based improv. Compared to groups that emphasize short-form, game-based performance, the Groundlings are more focused on longer scenes with a strong narrative and even a character arc. Their improvisational performance style features other signature elements, including those larger-than-life characters, a commitment to those characters and their choices, no matter how outlandish they are, and high production values. The Groundlings has had a profound influence on the performance and writing style of American comedy. Its graduates have written for and starred in major comedic productions like Saturday Night Live, Bridesmaids, The Office, Parks and Recreation, and Mad TV. Today, improvisation is bigger than ever. Online improv classes exploded during the COVID pandemic, and new shows like Middle Ditch and Schwartz brought long-form improv to streaming platforms. Improvisation is also a pipeline to careers in writing, acting, and content creation. And again, applied improvisation can be used in corporate training, therapy, creative development, healthcare, and more. Improvisation is an amazing performance tradition, but it's not just about being funny. Building improvisational skills builds our confidence. It sharpens our ability to communicate with one another. It encourages collaboration, and it teaches us how to view failure as a productive step forward. And of course, it's just fun to watch and do. So, that's the whirlwind tour of improvisation, from ancient Rome to the Groundlings stage. Whether you're an audience member or a practitioner, improvisation is all about connection, risk-taking, and joy. Thanks for listening, and remember to always say yes and I'll see you at the show.